everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be surfing like California. You'd see them wearing their baggies, Huarache sandals too, a bushy blonde hairdo, Surfin U.S.A. You'd catch him surfing at Del Mar, Ventura County line, Santa Cruz and Trestles, Australia's Narrabeen, all over Manhattan and down in Dowie Way, and everybody's gone surfing U.S.A. Hey, how you doing? Justin here to take you through this classic Beach Boys hit. It is Surfin U.S.A. Often credited to Chuck Berry, this song actually, but I think it's Sweet Little 16 with new lyrics by Brian Wilson. For me, it's definitely a Beach Boys tune, and a really great one for beginners because you can play it pretty simply with just A, D, and E chords. There's lots of stops, so a chance to get your chord changes sorted out as well, but you can actually take it a little bit further, work on the rhythm and the stops, all that sort of stuff. Plenty of food to take this a little bit further if you're, an advancing beginner. I should point out that if you're going to play along with the original recording with these chords, you're going to need to put a capo up on the 6th fret, okay? It's not too crammy up there, but it does get a little bit that way. You definitely don't need to. You saw there in the intro, playing it in open position with no capo works just as well. Also want to remind you to go and check out my beginner app if you haven't done so already. There are hundreds of songs with great backing tracks that you can play along with. It's a great feature for beginners. Really speed up your progress. It's, the big danger when you're a beginner is playing a chord and then stopping while you change to the next chord. Really will kind of develop a bad habit for the rhythm later on, which you're going to have to break. If you're learning with the app and learning with backing tracks all the time, you'll never develop that problem. And if you're struggling with rhythm, that's definitely something you want to check out. Let's get to a close-up and check out how to play this song. So the very intro starts off with an A chord there. Now there's actually a riff that goes, which I'll show you before the end of the video if I remember, but we'd just be starting on an A. If you're looking for a pitching note, it's here. The 3rd fret on the thinner string is the first melody note. If everybody had an ocean, just because it's a funny note to start on. If you're singing along, you might find that helpful. I'm just going to strum the chords once per bar and ignore the stops for now, and then we'll talk about the stops more in a second. So A, 2, 3, 4. If everybody had an E chord and another E across the USA, then another A, and everybody'd be E chord, like California A again. And you'd see them wearing their D chords, Huarache sandals A, a bushy blonde E chord, Surfin U.S.A. You'd catch 'em surfing at E chord, Ventura County A, Santa Cruz and E chord, Australia's Nara A, all over the D chord and down in Dorie A, everybody's gone E chord, D, Surfin U.S.A. Nice and convenient with the A chord landing right on USA each time and California A. Doesn't happen all the time like that. In fact, sometimes singing the chords along can be quite funny. Not in this particular case. So that would be your first step, is learning to play the song just one strum per bar, making sure you figure out where it sits with the lyrics, where beat 1 falls on the lyric if you're going to sing. That's a pretty useful skill to get down. Of course, it keeps it nice and simple. Because there are stops on the original recording, it kind of works as well to do strum, stop, change chords, strum, stop, change chords, particularly for the first half of the verse. In the second half of the verse, you don't have the stop. So for real beginners, that can be a helpful thing to start working on your chord changes. So in that case, you'd be starting on the A, 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. If everybody had a E chord, stop, change across the US, A, 3, 4, 1, change chords. Then we got the E chord, 3, 4, stop, Plenty of time to change to A, 2, 3, 4, stop. You see them wearing their D chord, stop, and then change the A, D to A, 2, 3, 4, stop, and then changing to the E. Then we go E chord. Here we want to change straight to the D or just stop, and then A, 2, 3, 4. You'd catch them catching at Delmar. Now, once we get into the actual strumming part, there are lots of different options that you could choose from here. I think the original recording is quite even, consistent eighth notes. So the most common pattern is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. The last down falling on beat 1 before the stop. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Really good idea to work on strumming patterns without the chords. Okay, so if you're learning a new pattern or trying to apply it, go through, get the chords right first, then wrap all of the fingers around the strings there, and then just practice it. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Can you see my hand is still moving for the silence? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just a really good habit to get into, to keep that strumming hand moving all the time. If you train yourself to stop, 2, 3, 4, then you've got to get the kind of pendulum motion going again each time. Whereas if you just keep it moving, 4 and 1, 2. Doesn't have to be the full movement. I definitely recommend to try and keep that hand moving at least a little bit. If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody be surfing like California, You see them wearing their baggies, their Rachi sandals too, a bushy, bushy blonde hairdo, Surfin U.S.A. And then keep going, you're turning at Delmar, Dirty County line, Santa Cruz and Trestles, Nothing lullaby, all over Manhattan, down in Tony Way, everybody's gone surfing, Surfin U.S.A. Now, I was sometimes doing the chord progression like down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down. So just missing that upstroke that might have fallen on the and after 1. You can use that all of the way through, or you can continue the strumming pattern for each chord. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and change, 2, and 3, and 4. So you've got that little chord change. The chord is held ever so slightly longer on beat 1 each time the new chord appears. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, which one of those ones you do, and you could apply any sort of strumming pattern here that you like. If you're learning new strumming patterns like Old Faithful, down, down, up, down, that's a great one to try on almost every song. So you catch it, USA, catch them surfing at Delmar, Venice County line, down, up, down, down, Santa Cruz and Trestles, Australia's not a vine, works great. All over Manhattan, and down in Tony Way, everybody's gone surfing, Surfin U.S.A. So you could try that pattern, like any strumming patterns that you learn and that you feel that you're learning, try them out on songs that you learn. See which ones feel good at which point. There's not a set one that you have to use here, so it's a good idea to try and explore and see what ones work for you, which ones you feel are better for which songs. There aren't really rules like that. One question that I'm sure you're going to ask is about the muting when you stop the chord. Now there's a couple of different options here. You can mute with the fretting hand by strumming the chord, lift it off and just place the fingers on all of the strings there. 2, 3, 4. Now, what you do get, if I slow it down, you get the strings ringing out a little bit while you're muting the strings. The advantage of doing that way, that version, is that you can keep the strumming hand moving. But the other option, which is a little tighter, which I probably would do if I wasn't trying to play it like beginnery would be to use the strumming hand to mute all of the strings. You just use like the karate chop part of your hand there to touch on all of the strings. So you'd end up here, everybody had an ocean, the USA. So I'm just using literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's into that second part. So putting the mute down there on beat 2 is what feels nicest. You can go sooner and put it on like right after the strum on 1, but putting it on beat 2 kind of gives you that a little bit of that continuous motion feeling with the strumming hand, which is a really, really important thing to develop. So let me show you that little intro thing as well. I think it's kind of a fun one to have a go at. It's a bit difficult for beginners, but some of you might like to have a try of it. So what you want to do is your first finger is going to cover the thinnest 2 or 3 strings at the 5th fret. Second finger is going to go down on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and then third finger goes down here on the 7th fret of the 4th string. It's actually another way of playing an A chord. It's the top part of an A bar chord, which again you'll learn later down the way if you're doing one of my courses. But the trick here is having this. So what you're really doing is this. Okay, so playing 4th string, 3rd string, 3rd finger's got moved and it's now on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. 1st finger, 5th fret on the 2nd string. 7th fret, 6th fret, 4th string, 3rd string, 6th fret, 7th fret, and finishing there. Now I'm moving my fingers a lot more here just so you can see the note placement. And it's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So you want to start with that, using all down picks. When you feel hip with that, you put that bar down, second finger down, and they don't move. And then you just make the same motions, but target a little bit with your picking hand. I really hope you enjoy playing this song as much as I did on my own guitar journey. It's brought back so many incredibly powerful memories doing this. Remember sitting in the little corridor, it was kind of dank and dusty of southern music, and going down to my very first teacher was a guy called Pete Thompson. He taught me this song, and I remember going down to his room, this funny long corridor, and I was always impressed with his room because he had guitar pedals and a few guitars around, lots of cool stuff. And I remember he was teaching me the song, and then he realized that I didn't know it. I hadn't heard it before, and he put a cassette player he had in the room, and he played it. And I just remember being like, "Oh man, the Beach Boys!" And I remember really hassling my parents to get me the record of it. It's great song, really good fun one to play. And don't feel like you have to play it a particular way or play it with the original recording. You can experiment with how you play it a bit. It's such a beautiful tune. It is this kind of classic 16-bar blues sequence, which is used for lots of different songs as well. So you'll find that as you learn this, the same chord sequence and feels will apply to other songs as well. So look, really hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you for plenty more lessons very soon. Don't forget, over on the website I've got loads of lessons for beginners. If you're struggling with any of the chords or the rhythms or tapping your foot or whatever it is that you've got a problem with, if you're a beginner, you're probably going to find the answer over on the beginners course on my website. So don't forget to check it out. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You'll take care of yourselves. Bye bye.